Imagine for a moment that you are floating in the deepest ocean. You look down and there is no bottom. You look up and there is no surface. You look around and there is no light. Just infinite, crushing pressure and absolute silence. Now, magnify that feeling by a factor of billions. Take away the water. Take away the air. Take away the atoms themselves. Welcome to the scariest place in the observable universe. It is not a black hole crushing matter into oblivion. It is not a supernova exploding with the fury of a billion suns. It is something far more unsettling. It is nothing. A desert in the fabric of reality. A place where the stars seemingly forgot to be born. Astronomers call it the Boötes Void. But those who stare into it long enough simply call it the Great Nothing. We are used to a universe that is crowded. When we point our telescopes at the night sky, we are overwhelmed by light. The Hubble Deep Field taught us that even in a patch of sky, the size of a grain of sand, held at arm's length, there are thousands of galaxies, each one teeming with hundreds of billions of stars. The universe, as we know it, is a tapestry woven thick with matter. It is a structure. It is a web. But there are holes in the web, tears in the fabric. In the year 1981, astronomer Robert Kirshner and his team were mapping the redshift of galaxies, trying to create a three-dimensional map of our cosmic neighborhood. They were looking at a patch of sky in the constellation Boötes, the herdsman. They expected to find the usual distribution, clusters of galaxies, filaments of light, the standard architecture of the cosmos. Instead, they found a ghost town. They found a region of space, so empty, so devoid of structure, that it defied the laws of probability. At first, they thought their equipment was broken. Perhaps a cloud of dark gas was blocking the view. Perhaps the data was corrupted. But as they looked closer, the horrifying truth began to settle in. The equipment was fine. The space was simply empty. To understand the Boötes Void, you must first understand the impossible scale of it. The human mind is not built to comprehend these numbers, but we must try. The void is a nearly perfect sphere. Its diameter is estimated to be between 250 million to 330 million light-years. Let me put that into perspective. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a titan in its own right, spanning roughly 100,000 light-years across. Light traveling at 186,000 miles. Per second takes 100 millennia to cross our galaxy. Now, take the Milky Way and line it up side by side. You would need to line up 2,500 Milky Ways just to span the diameter of the Boötes Void. It represents nearly 0.27% of the entire observable universe. It is a titan of nothingness. If you were to travel at the speed of light, it would take you 330 million years to cross it. That is longer than the time dinosaurs walked the earth. That is longer than the time it takes for continents to drift apart and reform. For 330 million years, you would see nothing. Astronomer Greg Aldering once gave the most chilling description of this place. He said, quote, "If the Milky Way had been in the center of the Boötes Void, we wouldn't have known there were other galaxies until the 1960s. Think about the implications of that statement. For all of human history, as we gazed up at the night sky, we would have seen only our own stars. Beyond our own galaxy, we would see an eternal, unbroken black, no Andromeda, no Triangulum, no distant clusters. We would have believed, with absolute scientific certainty, that our galaxy was the only island of existence in an infinite ocean of death. We would have been arguably the loneliest species in creation. But here is where the mystery deepens. The Boötes Void is not completely empty. It is not a perfect vacuum. Over the decades, with better instruments, astronomers have found inhabitants in this desert. They have found approximately 60 galaxies inside this sphere. 60 in a region of this size, according to the standard cosmological model, there should be at least 2,000 galaxies. Finding only 60 is like exploring a continent the size of North America and finding only one single house. And these 60 galaxies, they are shaped in unusual ways. They are incredibly isolated. Most of them have likely never interacted with another galaxy since the dawn of time. They are the hermits of the cosmos. Why are they there? And more importantly, where did everything else go? Physics tells us that gravity pulls matter together. Over 13.8 billion years, gravity builds walls and clusters. It does not naturally clear out a space of this magnitude. To create a void this big, something must have pushed the matter away. Or perhaps something consumed it. This is not just a hole in space. It is a crime scene. And to understand the culprit, we have to look at the suspects. Is it a flaw in the Big Bang? Is it the work of aggressive alien expansion? Or is it the first sign of our universe simply dying? How do you create a hole in the universe? To answer this, we do not need a telescope. We need a sink, some water, and soap. When you look at soap bubbles in a sink, you notice a pattern. The soapy water flows off the curved surfaces and gathers where the bubbles touch. It forms thick liquid ridges, leaving the center of the bubble thin and empty. The universe behaves exactly like this. It is a cosmic foam after the Big Bang. Matter was not distributed perfectly evenly. There were tiny quantum fluctuations, areas slightly denser than others. Gravity, the great sculptor, went to work. It pulled matter from the less dense regions towards the denser regions. Over billions of years, these dense regions became galaxies and clusters, forming the walls of the soap bubbles. The areas that were emptied out, those became the cosmic voids. But here is the problem. Standard gravity takes time, a lot of time. To clear out a space as massive as the Boötes Void, 330 million light-years across gravity, would need longer than the current age of the universe. The universe is simply not old enough for a hole this big to exist naturally. It is a mathematical paradox, unless the bubbles popped. The leading scientific theory is the merger theory. Astronomers believe that the Boötes Void did not start as one giant monster. It began as many smaller, distinct voids. As the universe expanded, these empty bubbles grew and pressed against each other. Eventually, the walls of galaxies separating them collapsed and dissolved under the pressure of dark energy. Like soap bubbles merging into a giant pocket of air, these voids coalesced into the supervoid we see today. This explains the size, and it also explains the lonely 60 galaxies inside. They are the survivors. They are the remnants of the galactic walls that used to separate the smaller bubbles, stranded in the middle of the merger like islands left behind after a dam breaks. They are fossils of a geometry that no longer exists. That is the comfortable answer. That is the answer that lets astrophysicists sleep at night. But there is another possibility, a possibility that is highly unlikely, yet terrified the scientific community enough that they actually had to check for it. What if the darkness is not an absence of matter, but an obstruction of light? We are currently a Type 0 civilization. We burn dead plants for energy. But theoretical physicist Nikolai Kardashev proposed a scale for measuring a civilization's technological advancement based on energy consumption. A Type 2 civilization can harness 100% of the energy of their star. They would build a Dyson sphere, a massive shell around their sun, to capture every photon. To an outside observer, that star would disappear. It would go dark. Now, imagine a Type 3 civilization, a species so advanced they command the energy of an entire galaxy. If an aggressive, expansionist Type 3 civilization emerged in the center of the Boötes region billions of years ago, what would we see? Or rather, what would we not see as they expand? They encase star after star, galaxy after galaxy, in Dyson shells to fuel their empire. The lights go out. The region goes dark. This theory suggests that the Boötes Void is not empty. It is full. It is full of a civilization that has industrialized the stars themselves. The circular shape of the void is simply the expanding radius of their territory, a bubble of control growing at nearly the speed of light. Is this science fiction? Almost certainly. Why? Because of thermodynamics, even a Dyson sphere must radiate heat. If the void were full of hidden stars, we should see a massive glow in the infrared spectrum, heat waste. But when we look at Boötes, we see cold, deep, penetrating cold. Unless their technology is so perfect that they capture not just the light, but the heat as well. Or perhaps their engineering operates on laws of physics we have not yet discovered. There is a third option, perhaps the most disturbing of all. What if matter is simply being pushed out by something else? We know the universe is expanding. We know dark energy is the force driving this expansion, but we assume dark energy is constant, uniform. What if it isn't? Some theorists suggest that the Boötes Void could be a region where dark energy is stronger than anywhere else, a super-expanding zone, a localized rip in the fabric of spacetime that is pushing galaxies away with violent acceleration. If this is true, the Boötes Void is not just a static hole, it is a cancer. It is a growing tumor in the body of the universe that will eventually consume the surrounding clusters. And it is growing, slowly, inexorably. The void pushes against the local supercluster. It is a reminder that the universe is not a static painting. It is a violent, dynamic arena where gravity and expansion are locked in a war for the fate of all matter. And in the Boötes Void, expansion is winning. There is a profound terror in the concept of the Boötes Void. It is not the fear of a monster or an explosion. It is the fear of isolation. As humans, we are social creatures. We look for patterns. We look for company. When we look at the stars, we see constellations, stories, and God. We populate the silence with our imagination. But the void offers no patterns. It offers no stories. It is the cosmic equivalent of the deep ocean where ancient mapmakers would simply write, "Here be dragons." But there are no dragons here, just silence. We should consider ourselves incredibly lucky. We live in a metropolitan area of the universe. The Virgo supercluster is rich, crowded, and bright. Because we have neighbors, we were able to discover gravity. Because we have stars to measure, we figured out the speed of light. If Earth had evolved on a rogue planet inside the Boötes Void, our science would be thousands of years behind. We would have no reference points, no way to navigate. We would be prisoners of our own ignorance, locked in a dark room with no windows. But in a way, the Boötes Void is not just a place. It is a time machine. It is a glimpse into the future of everything. As the universe continues to expand, and dark energy continues to push galaxies apart, the night sky will change. The gaps between galaxy clusters will widen. The voids will grow. Trillions of years from now, looking up at the sky from any planet will look like looking into the Boötes Void. The universe is slowly becoming a collection of isolated islands, drifting alone in an expanding sea of black. The Boötes Void is simply ahead of the curve. It is the first patch of winter in an endless cosmic autumn. This realization should not make us despair. It should make us cherish this moment. We are living in the golden age of the universe. We are alive at a time when the sky is full of light, when we can see our neighbors, when we can understand our origins. We are the universe experiencing itself before the lights go out. The great nothing reminds us that existence is rare. Matter is rare. Life is the rarest thing of all. In a universe dominated by void, every atom in your body, every star in the sky, every galaxy in the cluster is a miracle of defiance against the emptiness. We are the anomaly. We are the candle in the dark room. So the next time you look up at the night sky and see the darkness between the stars, remember the Boötes Void. Remember that the darkness is the default state of the cosmos, and be grateful for every single point of light that breaks it. The universe is vast, and most of it is empty. But as long as we are here to observe it, it is not meaningless. This is Primaide. Stay curious.